Tonight, the Boston Red Sox dock at Sky Dome, where Tim Wakefield hopes to have his knuckleball sailing past the Blue Jays. Wakefield and his knuckleball burst onto the baseball scene in 1992. He nearly pitched Pittsburgh to the World Series. However, Wakefield fell out of the limelight just as quickly. He lost his knuckleball and 15 games in the minors last year. But he never knuckled under. And with his pitch reborn, he is on top again. This time with the first-place Red Sox. ESPN welcomes you to Sky Dome in Toronto for the rubber game of a three-game series between the Boston Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. The Red Sox, one of the pleasant surprises in the early part of this 1995 season. They have an 8-game lead in the American League East, while the two-time defending champion Blue Jays are 9.5 games out and tied with New York in the basement of the American League East. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough along with Tommy Hutton. It's great to have you with us. Big reason why the Red Sox are a pleasant surprise this season, the performance of Tim Wakefield. He joined their pitching staff in late May when injuries hit Aaron Seeley and Von Eshelman, and he's gone 4-0 with an ERA of 0.54 using his knuckleball.
Absolutely incredible, Sean. And the thing about a knuckleball pitcher, as a hitter, every hitter has a different theory. I can remember facing Phil Niekro. My theory was early in the count, look for slider or sinker, or maybe not the good knuckleball, maybe the B knuckleball just to get over for a strike. But guys like Joe Carter, Joe's theory tonight against Wakefield, move up on the plate, get closer to it to give Wakefield a different view when he looks in at Carter. Paul Molitor's theory, lifetime 300 hitter. His theory, wait as long as possible and try to hit it at the last minute.
And Molitor's theories have been working lately. He's riding a 13-game hitting streak. The Blue Jays will have Al Leiter, the left-hander, on the mound tonight. He's been their best pitcher this season. Starting lineups and first pitch from Toronto in a moment. Welcome back to Sky Dome in the shadow of the CN Tower in downtown Toronto, Ontario. And as you can see, the roof is open. It was a spectacular day here in Toronto, and it's a beautiful evening for a ball game. Rubber game of this three-game series between the Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. Kevin Kennedy, in his first year as Red Sox manager, saw his team end its longest losing streak of the season last night. A three-game losing streak ended when Boston won 11-7. Kennedy's lineup tonight has Lee Tinsley leading off in center field. John Valentin is the shortstop. Mo Vaughn batting third and playing first base. Tim Naring, after 4 games out of the lineup with a hamstring injury, is back in as the DH and cleanup hitter. The struggling Mark Whitten is batting fifth in right field. Troy O'Leary for Mike Greenwell in left field. Mike McFarland, the slumping catcher, is batting seventh. Luis Alicea at second base bats eighth. Batting ninth, newly acquired third baseman Chris Donalds, with the knuckleballer Tim Wakefield on the mound.
You know, Sean, you talk about lineups, and Kevin Kennedy, in making out his lineup, you would think that Cito Gaston would alter his with a knuckleball pitcher. Kennedy actually did so even though his club would be on the defense. McFarland's struggling offensively, but he's caught all of Wakefield's games. He wanted him behind the plate. Chris Donalds, who was just acquired, is a left-handed hitter, even up against the left-hander Al Leiter. He wanted the defense of Donalds at third base with Wakefield pitching, so it even affected Kennedy.
And the Blue Jays have taken the field for what is a sparse crowd at the moment at Sky Dome. Sellouts no longer the rule here at Sky Dome. They have been averaging about 38,000 per home date, well below the capacity of nearly 50,000 seats. And Al Leiter, who's been one of the few bright spots for the Jays this year, is on the mound.
You know, as much as the story is Tim Wakefield tonight, Al Leiter every bit as much for the Toronto Blue Jays. Last 4 games that Al Leiter has started, he has a no decision and then 3 straight wins. He's given up just 12 hits in his last 25 1/3 innings. This is what the Red Sox will see when they go up against Leiter tonight. 80% fastballs and cut fastballs. He really likes to run his pitches in on right-handed hitters. He'll throw a few breaking balls, try his curveball on the outer part of the plate. He'll mix in a changeup once in a while. Occasionally, he'll use the fastball away. But if he's on his game, you'll see a lot of shattered bats from the Red Sox this evening.
And behind him, the best fielding team in the American League at the moment. The Blue Jays have only made 21 errors in 42 games.
Well, they have a Gold Glover in center field, and Devon White, he has 6. But the story, Roberto Alomar, Robbie with 4 Gold Gloves, but he's played 86 consecutive games without making an error. Almost. They thought this was an error in Cleveland last weekend. A tough ball hit by Albert Bell. Initially, it was called an error to Roberto Alomar. The story goes, Mike Hargrove, the manager of the Cleveland Indians, unbeknownst of the consecutive streak that Robbie had going, went to the score and said, hey, that's a base hit. So it continued the streak. The error was taken away. A base hit was given to Bell, and Roberto still has it going.
We mentioned this is the rubber game of a 3-game series. The Blue Jays won in 12 innings. Alex Gonzalez drove in the winning run in the 12th. He was 0 for 18 going into that ball game, but went 3 for 5. And then the Red Sox bounced back last night, led by John Valentin, who lacked only the single to hit for the cycle. And in addition to 4 runs batted in, he also scored 4 times. The umpires working the ball game. Gary Cederstrom has the plate with the crew chief Jim McKean at first. Dale Scott at second, and Vic Voltaggio is at third.
And always a tough assignment for a home plate umpire. Gary Cederstrom has his work cut out for him. It's not easy calling a knuckleball.
Lee Tinsley will lead off. He's a switch-hitting center fielder. Batting .317 overall with 3 homers and 17 runs batted in. He's at .304 this year, right-handed. First pitch of the ball game from Al Leiter is strike 1. Tinsley, Valentin, and Vaughn coming up for Boston in the first. Perhaps the biggest question mark for the Red Sox when this season began was in center field. They traded Otis Nixon away in the offseason as part of the deal with Texas to bring Jose Canseco to Boston. And Tinsley was an unproven commodity, but he started the season with a 14-game hitting streak and firmly grabbed a hold of that center field spot and erased the question mark.
I would say that question has been answered, and if you notice, it'd be kind of fun at home to keep track. All 3 pitches, the first 3 strikes, the 1 fouled off on the inner part of the plate from Al Leiter.
He's ahead of Tinsley, 0-2. Leiter, a 29-year-old native of Toms River, New Jersey, now makes his home in Plantation, Florida. He's delivered his first ball of the night. Last pitch from Leiter, 93 miles per hour. He goes to the breaking ball to get Tinsley for the first out of the ball game.
Tell you what, that's when he really becomes effective. With 2 strikes, hitters are hitting a .114 off Al Leiter. So they saw the hard stuff, the 93. Then he comes back with the big curveball. Tinsley didn't have a chance.
And Leiter is looking into John Valentin, coming off the big night last night. At 3 for 4, raised Valentin's average to .321. He has 11 homers, 32 runs batted in. A ball up and in.
Been a little battle these 2 games, first 2 games of this series, with some guys getting hit. But you almost expect it with Leiter out there, because he will hit a batter or 2 just because of the way he pitches.
His 2-0 is up and in to Valentin, who's hit in 4 straight games. Valentin exchanged words last night with Toronto reliever Woody Williams. Reggie Jefferson hit a home run with Valentin on base. As Valentin crossed the plate, he and Williams exchanged words. Valentin was ticking all the way on 3-0. Apparently Williams thought that Valentin was giving away the location of the pitches to Jefferson while he was at the plate. A charge that Valentin denied after the game. To right field and sinking fast for a hit. Fielded by Sean Green. Valentin's hit in 5 straight games and is aboard with 1 out in the first. Really, the hostilities began early last night. After Valentin hit a 2-run homer, Mo Vaughn was hit by a Pat Henkin pitch. Vaughn started toward the mound. This was in the 2nd inning. Vic Voltaggio, the home plate umpire, intercepted. The bench is emptied, but no punches were thrown. And there was not a problem thereafter, with the exception of the shouting between Williams and Valentin. Vaughn looked at strike 1. He's second in the league in homers with his 14 behind Mark McGuire's 17. And he's 1 RBI behind McGuire for the league lead in that category.
And a guy who has always never been troubled by left-handed pitching.
Well, a tough time in this series. Only 1 for 10 the last 2 nights. But his one hit was memorable. It was a home run that hit the windows that protect the Hard Rock Cafe well beyond the right field fence. They estimated it at 430 feet, and that must have been factoring in the exchange rate. It seemed to be longer than that. They have Valentin picked off, and they execute the play. 1-3-6. Leiter to Olerud to the shortstop Tomas Perez. 2 outs and the base is now empty.
I think Red Sox fans are seeing a little different Boston team this year. Kevin Kennedy has them on the move, a lot more aggressive. This time, Valentin just guessing on the movement of Al Leiter. He guessed wrong, and the play was completed. Good throw by John Olerud.
A lifelong New Englander, I've never heard the Red Sox referred to as the running Red Sox, but this year they are. 41 stolen bases at the top of the league, and Valentin with his caught stealing. Just the 2nd time this year for John, only the 17th time they've been thrown out. Not only have they stolen a lot of bases, but they've had an excellent success ratio. That's what Kevin Kennedy said when he came to Boston. That you can run with a team that isn't all that speedy if you pick the right pitches to go on. You know all of the situations, and his team has done that very well.
Who would have thought Boston with those 41 steals, the Blue Jays with 20 coming into this game tonight.
The 2-2. Raked down to first to John Olerud, and that ends the inning. After a half inning in Toronto, the Red Sox nothing, and the Blue Jays coming up. As we head to the bottom of the 1st here in Toronto, Cito Gaston's Blue Jays getting ready to come to bat for the first time tonight. Cito has Devon White leading off and playing center field, with Paul Molitor batting second as the DH. Roberto Alomar is the second baseman batting third. Cleanup hitter left fielder Joe Carter. John Olerud, the first baseman, bats fifth. Batting sixth, the third base Ed Sprague. Sean Green is the right fielder batting seventh, with Lance Parrish behind the plate hitting eighth. And Tomas Perez, the shortstop, bats ninth against Tim Wakefield.
One of the most incredible stories in baseball this year, and you have to figure at 28 years of age, Wakefield is a very young knuckleball pitcher. If you think of Phil Niekro and Hoyt Wilhelm and Charlie Huff lasting into the mid to late 40s. But Wakefield, his last outing, took a no-hitter into the 8th inning. Finally, Stan Javier broke that up for the Oakland Athletics. His key, and he learned it in talking to the Necros down in extended spring training, don't guide the knuckleball. Just go ahead and throw it, change speeds every once in a while, and he has had some great success.
Indeed he has. He's allowed only 2 earned runs in 33 and a third innings pitched. Devon White leads off and takes a knuckleball for ball 1. White at 301, and indicative of how the season has gone for the Jays. He's the team leader in runs batted in as the leadoff man, 27.
See what happened right there. He missed Devon taking that first knuckleball, so he came back with a little sinker just to get a strike.
And the sinker got up there at 77 miles per hour. Lobbed into shallow left and in for a hit. Right, a big turnaround first before retreating, and he's now hit in 7 straight games.
Well, you can guarantee that Cito Gaston has stolen bases on his mind along with Devon White, because when you have a knuckleball pitcher, you want to take advantage on the bases. Wait, wait, wait. That's what helped Devo get that base hit. Watch how long he waits. Right as that ball is about ready to be caught by Mike McFarland, Devon White took his swing.
He's at first with nobody out for Paul Molitor. Molitor quite candid that he has been a big part of the Blue Jays struggle to this point in the season, batting just .241. He looked at strike one. He has just the 2 home runs. It took him 150 at bats into the season to pick them up. His first home run was Sunday in Kansas City, and he hit another one in the first game of this series on Monday night.
One thing over the years that knuckleball pitchers have done, because they've had to, is learn how to go to the plate quickly and also quick moves to first base, and Wakefield has both of those.
The ball high, 1 ball and 1 strike on Molitor, riding a 13-game hitting streak, but he only has 14 hits during the streak, and he's hit just .255 over those 13 games. Might have been leaning, but he wasn't very far away from the bag. What a great success rate during his career stealing bases for Devon White.
But just 4 this year.
Chopped up the middle. Alicea had it go off his glove and into shallow center. White continues to third as Tinsley retrieves the ball. And the Blue Jays are in business, first and third, and nobody out in the first inning. Let's check in with John Saunders.
All right, guys, thanks a lot, and welcome to our Wednesday night baseball studios. We'll get you to our first highlight of the night. The Cleveland Indians and Eddie Murray up against his former team, the Orioles. His 58th hit of the year, now just 12 hits shy of 3,000. Most of those, of course, with the Orioles. It's 1-0 Indians.
And back here in Toronto, they have charged Luis Alicea with an error on the ball hit by Molitor. It was a double play ball if Alicea had come up with it. One weakness of the Red Sox team this year has been their defense. They're second to last in the league in team fielding. Only Chicago has fared worse. And if you followed the White Sox saga this year, they have been absolutely brutal in the field.
Safe to say the Sox defense has faltered.
Smelly Sox on defense in both Boston and Chicago this year. Alomar fouled one away, and the count is 1-2 on Robbie. He's riding a 7-game hitting streak.
What a difference that error makes, though, because you're right. That was a double play ball all the way. Alicea was moving toward the bag up the middle. Paul Molitor hits those hard topspin type ground balls, though.
Little pop up. Chris Donalds has room in foul ground, and the runners will not be able to move up. That's the first out of the inning. There is no score here in the bottom of the first.
Well, we've seen a little breakdown in the defense at second base in Alicea's error. Let's check out the rest of the defense. Talked about Donald getting the start in there for his D, but Mike McFarland, he's the guy to key on tonight. He has caught all of Wakefield's games so far. He said his key is to get back there as he gets in his crouch, take a deep breath, relax, let the ball come to him, don't try to stab at it.
He had never caught a knuckleballer prior to Wakefield's arrival, and he's done an excellent job. Carter pulled one sharply foul that the third base coach Nick Leva skipping out of the way. Joe's hitting .306, 6 home runs, 24 runs batted in.
That was the good dancer. And if you notice, looking in from center field, Joe up on the plate, close to the plate. Also close to the mound, but closer to the plate because that way he doesn't give Wakefield the inside part.
To left field and a hit. And the Blue Jays take a 1-0 lead as White trots home from third. Molitor to second on the play. And Joe Carter is his 25th run batted in, and a rare run scored against Tim Wakefield this season.
Knuckleball goes inside. It wasn't pretty. Joe just brings his hands in, didn't hit it all that hard. Ended up picking up an RBI. There's an RBI machine right there, Joe Carter.
Since 1984, he has more runs batted in than any other player in Major League Baseball. 1,120 now. During that time, John Olerud, another of the struggling Blue Jays this season, batting just .252, 3 homers, 14 runs batted in. He's 2 for his last 18. Hasn't hit a home run in 22 games. Pitch got away from McFarland. Molitor moves to third.
Just picture yourself if you're Mike McFarland trying to catch this thing. I believe that's just his second pass ball. The first one was the first game he caught. So it's been 5 games. McFarland, with just 2, has done an incredible job.
And the 0-2 is lined to the left. And it shoots through the gap. Molitor has scored. Carter will come around, and he will score. It's a double for Olerud, and a 3-0 Toronto lead.
Well, last year, John Olerud hit .357 with runners in scoring position. He's hitting just a little over 150 this year. Again, if you notice the hitters staying back, going the other way, really kept his hands back well that time. Once that ball got onto that turf, into the gap, Carter scored all the way from first.
Now it's Sprague. He's had a very solid season, as those numbers would indicate. In fact, over the last week, he has moved up in the batting order from 8th to 6th. Valentin, throw was off the mark, but Vaughn applied the tag. 2 outs, and Olerud could not move up. He's still at second. Toronto leads 3-0 in the first.
Talked about that double by John Olerud. Once it got into the gap, Joe Carter with a good jump, and then he picks the ball up right here. Right about now, he knows he's going to be able to score. He doesn't really even need to look to Nick Lavin, watch him wave him home. He knows he's going to make it.
And a line drive just foul off the bat of Sean Green. And Mark Whitten makes a friend in the right field seats. Green, the rookie right fielder, hitting .274 with 6 homers, 17 runs batted in. And this is already Tim Wakefield's worst start as a member of the Red Sox in 5 starts. Over the previous 4, he had not given up more than 1 run in any of them, and he's gone at least 7 innings in all of the first 4. 2 starts ago, he pitched 10 innings in a 2-1 win over Seattle. And the occasional fastball.
These two have matched up before. Wakefield and Sean Green met each other a couple of years ago in Double-A.
And Green remembers it and drives one to deep right center. And it's over the fence on a hop. A double for Sean Green and a 4-0 lead as Olerud scored from second. And Green has a run batted in, his 18th. Certainly the error didn't help Tim Wakefield, but this is far from an effective outing on his own. And John Cumberland, in his first year as Boston pitching coach, is at the mound.
I think the only thing you can say about that error is that it really changes the tone of the inning, because if the play is made, it's a double play. Good at bat by a 22-year-old rookie. Up on the bat, you notice Sean Green choked up that time, and they didn't expect him to pull the ball into the gap. Center fielder Tinsley pulled over into left center a little. That ball had a lot of hang time, but it still dropped. But a good AB for Sean Green.
2 of the runs in this inning earned runs and 2 unearned. And now the 8th batter of the first is Lance Parrish. Veteran catcher hitting .208. He swung and missed for strike 2. He started the game here Monday night and had a very tough time of it. Went 0 for 6 in the extra inning ball game. He struck out 4 times. Randy Noor was behind the plate last night. Little looper, Alicea in shallow center takes it in, and that ends the inning. The Blue Jays get 4 against Tim Wakefield. After inning, it's 4-0 Toronto.
Well, the big error in that first inning by Luis Alicea Not an easy play because you always think you're going to get that true hop on AstroTurf, but when the ball comes close to the lip in the dirt, sometimes there's a little opening there. So what looked to be a sure double play all of a sudden gave Alisea a tricky hop. Really opened things up for the Blue Jays in the first inning. A lot different story if it's 2 out and nobody on base, if that double play is completed.
So Tim Wakefield has already endured his worst outing as a member of the Red Sox, and they've only played an inning tonight here in Toronto.
You know, Sean, in talking to Wakefield, he has such a great approach to this whole thing, especially because of what had happened to him with the Pittsburgh Pirates, how they had released him. So he doesn't want to get too high, not going to get too low, because he knows the fate of a knuckleball pitcher.
Tim Naehring will begin the second for Boston. Toronto leads 4-0. Naehring leads the American League in hitting with his .365 average. He's 2 points ahead of California's Chili Davis and 4 points ahead of Edgar Martinez of Seattle. Naehring suffered a hamstring injury in a game at Fenway Park last Friday night. Left that game and has not seen any action since. Going to DH tonight. They have an off day tomorrow, and he hopes that he'll be able to play in the field at third base on Friday when the Red Sox are back home at Fenway Park entertaining Milwaukee.
Sure, I'll take him.
Naehring, then Witten and O'Leary in the Boston second against Al Leiter.
Al has to just tell himself right now, I have my quota, because the Blue Jays have been averaging 4 runs a start for him.
Sounded like a broken bat.
It was.
And Sprague throws him out. And we throw it back to John Saunders.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. The Yankees and the Tigers and New York on the board early. Paul O'Neill slams this 2-run home run, his 6th of the year. Mike Stanley has also added a home run, his 5th, and it's 4-zip Yankees over the Tigers.
And we read where George Steinbrenner showed up in Detroit last night. Not sure that made Buck Showalter feel all that secure. Mark Witten has struggled in his first season with the Red Sox, hitting just .176. With a homer and 4 runs batted in. He's a switch hitter. He was acquired in the offseason, along with left-handed pitcher Riel Cormier from St. Louis in the trade that sent third baseman Scott Cooper to the Cardinals.
If Al Leiter has his good stuff, he should be able to tie up Mark Witten because of the type of swing he has. He has a big swing. He gets the bat head out in front. He can cause you a lot of problems. But if Al has that good cutter working, he can tie him up.
Two balls and 2 strikes. 1 out and the bases are empty in the second. Toronto leads 4-0. Breaking ball bounced foul past Dave Oliver in the third base coach's box. Boy, it's strange to come to this park and see empty seats, particularly as many as we have seen for this 3-game series. The Red Sox and Blue Jays, heated rivals over the last decade or so. Witten strikes out for the second out of the inning, and second strikeout in the ball game for Al Leiter.
And again, after showing him something away, watch this pitch run inside. Witten doesn't catch up to it. Good pitch. Yeah, normally, Sean, you have 49, 50,000 here, so the Blue Jays about 10 to 12,000 off on an average per night.
Leiter's first pitch to Troy O'Leary. The ball outside. O'Leary in the left field tonight. And he's hitting .349, 5th in the American League. 2 homers, 21 runs batted in. He has reached base safely now in 7 straight plate appearances, with 4 hits and 3 walks. His last 7 times up, bidding to make it 8 in a row, and he will. It falls in front of Devon White. That's a career-high 8-game hitting streak now for O'Leary. And he's also reached base safely in 8 straight plate appearances. He walked 3 times last night and had 2 hits.
You know, it's not uncommon to see left-handers get hits off Al Leiter. He goes to the breaking ball with that at bat and with that swing, and that's his second best pitch. A lot of managers will play lefties against Leiter, or guys like Jim Abbott. Even some switch hitters hit left-handed off Al Leiter.
Mike McFarland.
Carlos Baerga, switch hitter, hit left-handed off Al Leiter last weekend in Cleveland.
And how'd he do you remember?
Got a base hit his last time up.
Well, McFarland could use a base hit to lift his spirits. He's 0 for his last 19. He has 8 homers, and that leads all catchers in Major League Baseball. He's hit some dramatic home runs for the Red Sox in his first season with them. 3 of his home runs have come in the 9th inning. He had a game-winning home run in the 9th inning against the Yankees' Steve Howe, May 14th. Another game-winning homer May 18th. In the 8th inning, Cleveland's Jim Poole.
You know, you just knew when Mike McFarland became a Boston Red Sox, the way he crowds the plate, the way he pulls the ball, that he would attack the Green Monster a little bit.
Taking some tired swings in recent days. He's seen the bulk of the catching duty.
Come on, Al, don't lose them.
And this certainly isn't a mental night off for him either.
No.
With Wakefield out there.
I thought he might get last night off, given that he is slumping and he had the prospect of handling the knuckleball from Wakefield tonight. The off day tomorrow would have been 2 days off out of 3. He draws a walk. The first thrown by Leiter, and the Red Sox are trying to put something together with 2 outs. We mentioned at the top of the telecast, Leiter has been the best pitcher this year for Toronto. David Cohn expected to be the ace of the staff, and he's been decent. The rest of the starting staff has really struggled. Pat Henkin was roughed up last night. Juan Guzman isn't the Juan Guzman of the past.
No, he has spent time on the disabled list, and Darwin has not found it.
And all of a sudden, Leiter is in a jam. There's Darwin keeping the chart. He spent the last 4 years with the Red Sox. He's enjoying that duty too, isn't he?
All pitchers love to do that.
Luis Alicea is the batter, and he pops it up. Sprague in foul ground. Ends the inning. After an inning and a half in Toronto, 4-0 Blue Jays. Tim Wakefield and the Red Sox trailed 4-0 yesterday. We spoke with Tim about his emotional ups and downs over the last 4 seasons.
It's been a very emotional roller coaster for me, but it's been a great learning experience for me. It's something that I wouldn't want anyone else to go through, but I'm kind of glad that I did, because I've learned a lot about myself and I've learned a lot about the game. I'm definitely not a quitter, and the thought never crossed my mind about giving up.
And the first pitch to Tomas Perez fouled at home plate for strike 1. Wakefield came to the major leagues in 1992 and bolstered the Pittsburgh Pirates during their second half of the season run toward the National League East title. He went 8-1 the second half of the season, and then was outstanding in the National League Championship Series against Atlanta in '92. He won 2 ball games. Would have been the MVP of the series had Pittsburgh not squandered the lead to Atlanta in the bottom of the 9th of Game 7. Says the trophy was in his locker. Strike 3 got by McFarland, and he throws Devon for the out. The strikeout 2-3 for the first out of the inning, and the first strikeout of the night for Tim Wakefield.
Now, when you're 20 years old and you've never seen a knuckleball pitcher before, this is a tough matchup and just an outstanding pitch. So Tomas Perez can go back and say he saw one of the better knuckleballs ever on that last strike. Like Mike McFarland, he said his #1 goal in catching Wakefield is to just keep the ball in front of him. That one got mitt and the mask.
Yes, it did. 2-0 is the count on Devon White. He singled to start the 4-run first inning uprising. He scored the first of the 4 runs. Paul Molitor's on deck. 4-0 Toronto in the second. Close pitch called ball 3. We mentioned that it's been an up and down ride for Wakefield after that success story in 1992. He really struggled in 93. Went 6-11 for the Pirates. Wound up spending part of the year in the minor leagues in Carolina. And then last year he spent all of the season at AAA Buffalo, where he went 5-15. And had an ERA of 5.84. Went to spring training this year with the Pirates and was released after his troubles continued. Red Sox signed him as a free agent, and they put him to work with the Negro brothers, Joe and Phil, who were in Fort Myers at the Red Sox train at the Colorado Silver Bullet women's team. White with the base hit. Well, for those of you in the Oakland, California area, you've been receiving this ball game by mistake, and we apologize for it. We are going to send you now to the ball game between Philadelphia and Houston, and we hope you enjoy it. And for those of you who are still here,
we hope you don't want to see Philadelphia.
Yeah, if you want to see Philadelphia and Houston, you're out of luck. You're stuck with McDonough and Hutton and the Red Sox and Blue Jays. It's 4-0 Toronto.
You know, I think one thing that's come through all of this with Wakefield and any knuckleball pitcher who comes down the pike is that you need to talk to another knuckleball pitcher to get things ironed out. Another pitching coach will never be able to help.
As Tim said, he just totally lost his confidence and his ability to throw the pitch. Molitor reached on that big error by Alicea and scored the second run last inning. And Necros, more than anything else, restored his confidence by telling him you can't wish it up there or aim it up there. You have to throw it and have confidence that it'll find its way to the strike zone. And Molitor strikes out for the second out of the inning. Both have come via the strikeout for Tim Wakefield.
Yeah, Wakefield told me also when he was with Pittsburgh, he always made a point to talk to Charlie Huff when the Pirates played the Marlins. But again, the good dancer, even with that short, quick stroke. Remember, Molitor's theory is to wait as long as he can. He waited, and he still couldn't get it.
2 outs now, runner at first, 4-0 Blue Jays in the second. And Roberto Alomar took the fastball for a strike. He popped out to the third baseman in foul ground. That Wakefield fastball that he just snuck in there was at 78 miles per hour. Bunt. Wakefield off the mound quickly. Safe at first. Alomar runs well, and he was able to beat the throw, and White took second.
Today, a really good play on both parts. The knuckleball is probably harder to bunt than it is to hit. Tremendous bunt, but look at the play Wakefield made. Former first baseman, played a little third base originally when he signed. He got over and almost threw out Roberto Alomar. Any other runner, he nails him.
Now Joe Carter sends one to deep left, and O'Leary makes the running catch just shy of the warning track, and the Blue Jays strand 2 in the second. But after 2, they lead 4-0. It's Wednesday night, and that means a doubleheader of Major League Baseball action tonight here on ESPN. In Game 2, Mark McGwire, hit a few home runs lately, leads the Oakland Athletics into battle against Frank Thomas and the Chicago White Sox. That's at 10:30 Eastern time. McGwire leads the American League in home runs, runs batted in, and the Red Sox are still hearing the crack of his bat in their ears. He hit 5 home runs in 2 games over the weekend at Fenway Park, and
Was that about 1,800 feet worth?
It was unbelievable. The longest was 463 feet, and that didn't seem to do it justice.
You know, that ring still possibly being heard in Zane Smith's ears, too.
Smith gave up the 3 that he hit on Sunday after 2 on Saturday afternoon. Roger Clemens made a solid return to action in his 3 starts for Boston. And the Red Sox trail 4-0 tonight as they come up in the third against Al Leiter. Chris Donald, the number 9 hitter, leads off. He's still looking for his first hit in a Boston uniform. He was acquired from the Houston Astros on Saturday for a player to be named later. And he's gone 0 for 7 since. And he pops it up for the shortstop Perez in shallow left. One out. Once again, here's John.
Sean, and once again, it's the Orioles and the Indians, and Albert Bell at the plate lifts this one out towards left field. Gone for his 10th home run of the year. You can see the Yankees and the Indians Sunday here on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball. Join John and Joe right now. Back to Sean and Tommy.
Thank you, John. 4-0 Toronto here tonight. Top of the third. 1 out, base is empty. Top of the order for the Red Sox. Lee Kinsley struck out swinging in the first. Quickly 0-2, and Leiter is throwing hard. That one rushed up there at 90 miles per hour. He's been up to 92 a couple of times.
Great contrast tonight in pitchers. Leiter with his cut fastball, 90-mile-an-hour, and then Wakefield with the knuckleball. And Wakefield doesn't have to grunt when he throws the knuckleball either.
No, he does not. But he might want to, just to maybe fool the bat.
Would be a great deception, wouldn't it?
Here comes my really fast knuckleball, which the fastest knuckleball we've had tonight on the gun, by the way, is 67 miles per hour. Kinsley, a little lob down the right field line, just foul. We talked at the top of the telecast about the surprising success of this Boston team. Most of the experts had them picked to finish 4th in their division, behind, in no particular order, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Orioles. And I think what they've accomplished this year, Tommy, is particularly impressive when you consider all the injuries they've had to key players. Jose Canseco has missed 27 games. He's still on the disabled list. He's only played in 12 games. Mark Whitten missed 17. Kinsley out for 15 ball games. The pitching staff has been affected as well. Aaron Seeley is still out of action. Vaughn Eshelman just returned and pitched last night, after not having pitched since May 24th. And of course, they've only received 3 starts to this point from Roger Clemens, who started the season on the disabled list. Zane Smith started the year on the DL, as did Stan Belinda. So despite all of these key injuries, the Red Sox have an 8-game lead.
Well, I tell you probably would be talking about the Red Sox as a surprise, even if those players hadn't been injured. They're happy to have Clemens back, and he should be healthy the rest of the year. But they made some great acquisitions, some guys who filled in: Belinda, Eric Hansen, Wakefield. Incredible.
It is indeed. John Valentin single to right in the first. One of 2 Boston hits to this point. He pulled 1 foul.
We're also told, too, Sean, that Kevin Kennedy was talking about the swings that Canseco took today in Boston, over 100 swings. And they expect to have him back a little sooner than they had first anticipated. I think Canseco's going to go down and play some games on a rehab assignment, even play a little outfield. Kennedy wants to get him in the outfield when he comes back here.
You just won't have him pitch again. It didn't work well for Kennedy when he managed Canseco in Texas. Canseco's itching to go. He called Kennedy yesterday in the hotel here in Toronto. Said, "I feel great. I want to get going." When he first went down with the muscle pull, actually a torn oblique muscle, an abdominal muscle on the side. We know what that is. That's the love handle area. We're both familiar with that.
Mine's harder to find.
Yes. But when he first suffered that torn oblique muscle, it was thought that he'd be out at least until the All-Star break. We're thinking he might be on their road trip next week when they go to Cleveland and Baltimore. Valentin to center. White the catch. 1, 2, 3 go the Red Sox against Leiter in the third after 2.5. 4-0 Toronto. First pitch of the bottom of the third is a strike from Tim Wakefield to John Olerud. Blue Jays batting with a 4-0 lead. They scored 4 times in the first. 2 runs earned, 2 runs unearned. And Olerud knocked in 2 runs with a double through the gap in left center. And he scored later in the inning on a double by Sean Green. Wakefield's had good control prior to this at bat with Olerud. Only thrown 9 balls tonight. As you can see, there is no second base umpire on the field at the moment. And it's Jim McKean, the crew chief, who has left the field. He was the first base umpire. Dale Scott has moved from second to first, and we'll try to find out what has happened to Jim McKean. Lee Tinsley, the center fielder, makes the catch in left center, and here comes Jim McKean back. One can only speculate. Here's John.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing back here, but the speculation is easy. Dodgers and the Pirates. Mike Piazza, a 2-run shot, his 6th home run of the year. DeShields was aboard as well. This off Paul Wagner. And right now, that's the lead.
Well, we won't push John to find out what the speculation was back in the studio. Welcome back, Jim.
He looks better.
Ed Sprague, a long drive to center. Tinsley makes the over-the-shoulder catch on the warning track.
Good play by the Boston center fielder Lee Tinsley, and it's something that you have to really concentrate more on with the dome open here in Toronto. A little different story with the dome closed. The ball moves, carries somewhat better when the roof is open, which they've had for all 3 games of this series.
Now Sean Green, who doubled to right center. Brown ruled double. And he picked up an RBI with that 2-base hit in the first. We're in the third, and the Blue Jays lead 4-0. Wakefield's trying to have his first 1-2-3 inning. Green had to skip out of the way of that one. 2-0 the count. Mentioned that when he was drafted by Pittsburgh out of Florida Tech, Wakefield was a first baseman and third baseman. Started in the minor leagues in the Pittsburgh organization, playing those positions, but he was hitting under 200. He was about to get let go, and his minor league manager saw that fooling around in the outfield, he had a good knuckleball, and they convinced the organization to try to convert him into a knuckleball pitcher. And as they say, the rest is history. And as we chronicled in the case of Wakefield, a very interesting history.
Very similar to that of Charlie Huff. Years ago, I played with Charlie Huff in the minor leagues. He was a third baseman, then became a pitcher, sinker slider type pitcher, and they were going to release him. They said, you better come up with another pitch.
And Green strikes out. Wakefield has his first 1-2-3 inning. He has now struck out 3. After 3 in Toronto, 4-0 Blue Jays. Toronto Blue Jays lead 4-0. We head to the top of the 4th here at Sky Dome. Red Sox coming to bat against Al Leiter. They'll have Mo Vaughn, Tim Nearing, and Mark Whitten coming up. It's early in the season, but Cito Gaston admitted that these games against the Red Sox are a bit more important than your run-of-the-mill games in the middle of June, because his team is so far out of first place at the moment, they have to take advantage of the head-to-head opportunities against Boston.
Well, with teams playing 144 games this year, everything becomes a little more concise with Paul Molitor and his squad. Obviously, you want to come in, take on the Red Sox with them coming to Toronto and win 3, but at least 2 out of 3. So a very important ball game tonight for Toronto.
They lead 4-0 as Mo Vaughn digs in. Vaughn bounced to the first baseman Olerud unassisted to end the first. Leiter's retired 4 in a row as he goes to work, and his first pitch is swung on and missed for strike 1. Well hit. Left field. Carter watching it go. Home run. Number 15 for Vaughn, and he's now tied with Mark McGuire for the league lead in runs batted in with 41. And Boston is on the board. It's 4-1.
This pitch demonstrates exactly why left-handers have success against Al Leiter. 85% of his pitches are away to lefties. First pitch was that pitch. Runs away. Mo Vaughn doesn't try to pull it. He hits lefty so well. Hit .311 against him last year. Al Leiter knew it as soon as Mo hit it.
Vaughn only has 2 hits in the series, but both have been home runs. Now Tim Naring bounces it to short, charged by Perez. 1 out. I haven't seen much of Perez this year, Tommy, but I know you do, watching the Blue Jays regularly, and from what we've been told, he has terrific hands.
He has tremendous hands. There's some great bat speed right there in Mo Vaughn.
And I'm partial to the hairstyle. Mark Whitten struck out swinging in the second. He's been working hard trying to get out of this slump. It's really been a season-long funk for him. He's been out taking extra hitting with the new batting coach Jim Rice. But at the moment, not much is working for him. Leiter with the grunt as he missed inside. Mo Vaughn and Jim Rice talking it over.
Jim Rice, the last man with over 200 hits and 40 home runs.
And he was eligible for the Hall of Fame for the first time in the most recent balloting and fell well short.
Hard to believe he'd be well short.
Yes,
the kind of career he had.
Down to third. Nice play by Sprague. Not only has Ed Sprague had a terrific year with the bat, he has also excelled defensively.
This is certainly one area that Sprague has continued to improve on each year, and even more so, more noticeably this year. He's made some good plays at third base all year for Toronto. He's hit the ball well, showed good hands that time, and a good strong throw over to first base.
Troy O'Leary singled to center field to extend the longest hitting streak of his career to 8 games. He's now reached base safely in 8 straight plate appearances. And he's even in the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Here's another guy. We were talking about some of the acquisitions of Dan Duquette, picking him up on waivers from Milwaukee, and look at the way he's fit with this ball club.
Now they can't get him out of the lineup. We thought he'd be an extra outfielder. When they acquired him due to injuries, he got a chance. And even with Whitten returning to health, he's been in there every day as Troy O'Leary. Last pitch 93 from Leiter, and O'Leary fouled that one off to stay alive at 1 and 2.
You know, when Kennedy gets everybody back healthy, and if Whitten swings the bat well, he's going to be hard pressed to get playing time for guys like O'Leary and Jefferson. He's going to have a tremendous bench.
Kennedy has said Whitten is going to have to earn his way back into that regular spot. There's no way he can take O'Leary out the way Troy has played throughout this season, particularly of late. And Whitten has done nothing to earn the opportunity to go back in and play. Nasty breaking ball by Leiter for the strikeout, his 4th. Red Sox on the board on the home run by Vaughn. Most Blue Jay fans still loyal to their team despite their struggles this season. They lead tonight 4-1 as they come to bat in the home half of the 4th, with the bottom part of the order coming up against Tim Wakefield. Lance Parrish to lead off. Lazy fly ball to straightaway center. Tinsley to catch, and Wakefield has retired 5 in a row.
Kind of interesting, after that inning ended, Al Leiter came in, had a little chat with Lance Parrish, veteran catcher, talking about that pitch maybe to Mo Vaughn. Cito Gaston came in, joined in the conversation. 50 in a third innings. Al Leiter had gone. That's the first home run he'd allowed all year. So Cito saying, go another 50 and we'll take our chances the rest of the year that way.
Tomas Perez, the batter. He struck out swinging in the 2nd. Wakefield has fanned 3. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Perez drafted away from the California Angels in December in the Rule 5 draft. And Witten makes the catch. 2 down, and that's 6 in a row retired by Wakefield.
I think because of the nature of the game, because talent is getting stretched with expansion, we're seeing a lot more of the Rule 5 players stay with clubs and have some success, get a chance to play a little bit.
Top of the order for the 3rd time in 4 innings for the Jays. Devon White took ball 1 low and in. He's two a couple of singles. He scored after singling in the 1st. Raised his average 7 points to 308. One ball and 1 strike. One ball and 2 strikes.
I like another McFarland quote. He says, I just try to contain it. I don't try to frame it. Just try to contain the pitch.
That last one was 58 miles per hour, and it brought a smile to the face of Devon White.
You can't contain him. Kind of sounds like Dan Patrick.
That's right.
Yeah.
First pitch of the night. Not a very good looking swing for strike 3. 4 strikeouts for Wakefield. 4-1 Toronto. Tonight here in Toronto, the Blue Jays lead the Boston Red Sox by a score of 4-1. Sunday night, the Yankees and Indians on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. 7:56 Eastern Time. As Wade Boggs tries to help the Yankees get back on the winning track. They've won only 5 of their last 21 games. They'll be opposed by the best team in baseball at the moment, Albert Bell and the Cleveland Indians. They are 32-11, and Eddie Murray's closing in on 3,000 hits. The Yankees and the Indians Sunday night from Jacobs Field here on ESPN.
Sean, you think George will make that trip from Detroit to Cleveland?
I don't know. He might. Question is, if he does, will Buck Showalter?
And Tartable.
That's right. Mike McFarland takes the first pitch fastball for strike 1. 5th inning, 4-1 Toronto. They're trying to make it 2 out of 3 in this series with Boston. McFarland drew a walk in the 2nd. The only one issued by Leiter to this point. It's tough to throw a pitch inside and miss McFarland. He leads the American League in hit by pitch 6 times already this year. He's been flung.
Certainly something he's used to, because he was hit 18 times last year and 16 the year before. So he knows how to handle those inside pitches.
18 in the strike shortened season.
And he doesn't even wear the pad that Mo Vaughn wears.
After a while, you become immune to it, I guess. Bad enough as a catcher back there, taking all the foul tips, all the bumps and bruises that come with the position. Then to go up there and get hit 18 or 19 times during the season as a batter. Broke his bat, and Carter has it along the left field line. 4 in a row retired by Leiter since the Vaughn homer. Here's John.
And we've got the Braves and the Expos early on 2nd inning. John Smoltz to Darren Fletcher. This is a 2-run home run. Tarasco also aboard, and Montreal has a 1-run lead. Back to Sean and Tommy.
And the Expos in that ball game in search of their 5th straight win. Atlanta's lost 3 in a row. Now Luis Alicea. He took ball 1 inside. He popped out to the 3rd baseman Ed Sprague in foul ground in the 2nd. Alicea got off to a very slow start and has picked it up lately. Highest his average has been since opening day was 238. Over his last 20 games, he's hit 317. Raised his average up from 153 over those 20 games to the 238 that he had coming in. And he has a base hit, trying to continue his climb in batting average. He's aboard with 1 out in the 5th on the 4th hit of the night for Boston.
You know, you look at a guy like Al Leiter. He's 29 years of age, and so many times you hear the old adage in baseball that left-handers mature a little bit later in life, and he's a 12th year professional. Just his 6th year with the Blue Jays. A big trade with the Yankees when they acquired Jesse Barfield. Took him 4 years before he won his first game as a Toronto pitcher. Now the last couple of years he's starting to settle in and be a more solid pitcher.
He had a stretch right around the time of that trade when he had a very tough time with blisters. Kept recurring. Chris Donald's the batter. He popped out to the shortstop Perez, leading off the 3rd. In the air in center field, not particularly deep. Von White for the 2nd out, and Alicea retreats to first.
You look back at the first inning of this ball game, and you still think about that error that Alicea made, because Wakefield has thrown and pitched just the way he has in his previous 4 starts. He doesn't have a walk. That potential double play ball set up that entire first inning.
Certainly the Red Sox have a comfortable lead at the moment in the American League East, but if they are going to continue to have the success, their defense is going to have to be better. You can't be 13th in the league in fielding and expect to continue winning at the rate the Red Sox have been winning. Tinsley, little looper and a base hit. Out of the reach of Perez. Alicea rounded 2nd before putting the brakes on. The Red Sox trying to get something accomplished with 2 down here in the 5th. Runners at 1st and 2nd. They trail 4-1. And here's John Valentin representing the tying run at the plate. He singled to right in the 1st, flied to center in the 3rd. It seems just now, Tommy, around baseball, Valentin is beginning to be recognized for what he is, one of the best shortstops in the game.
I'll get this guy.
I think he has that real relaxed feeling right now. I don't think there's pressure on him defensively. I think that's helped him offensively.
Not only are they touting him as a candidate for the All-Star game, and you'd have to think he would be an All-Star if the game were played today with the numbers he has posted during Boston's early season success in the hub. They've been also billing him as a potential MVP candidate. He's been that important to their success, particularly in light of all the injuries. As you can see, among all shortstops in the major leagues, he leads in slugging percentage at the top of a pretty good list.
So you see that name, Will Cordero, there with the Montreal Expos. Kevin Kennedy's bench coach, Timmy Johnson, when he was with Montreal, loved Cordero. And he said, you know what? I think I like Valentin better. Of course, Valentin said Mo Vaughn should be the MVP. Mo said give it to Valentin.
Yep. They both get votes for that balloting held today. Here's Mo Vaughn on deck. Vaughn and Valentin were teammates in college at Seton Hall in New Jersey. Valentin's a native of New Jersey, Jersey City. He played basketball for a well-known St. Anthony High School basketball program for Coach Bob Hurley Sr. Was a very good point guard for Coach Hurley. He only won about 90% of his games in the 2 decades he's been the coach at St. Anthony. To short, Perez. Close play, but they get Tinsley at second to end the inning, and the Red Sox strand 2. After 4.5, Al Leiter and the Blue Jays lead 4-1.
We told you the Expos had a 2-1 lead over the Braves. Facero trying to protect that, but Javier Lopez comes up with a single. Marquise Grissom, the former Expo, comes in to score and ties the game at 2 apiece.
And here in Ontario, 4-1 Blue Jays as they come up in the 5th against Tim Wakefield, who's recovered from the rough first inning. And he's retired 7 in a row as he goes to work against Paul Molitor. Molitor reached on the error by Alicea in the first that looms as the biggest play of this game. He scored later in the inning, and he struck out swinging in the second. Talking with Paul yesterday about the labor situation in baseball. He has long been active in the Players Association. Donald Fehr is here tonight. Paul said he expected to speak very directly and candidly to Donald Fehr about the need for the players to push to get a labor agreement with the owners so that baseball can be, in his word, stabilized, and they can begin the process of healing and bring the fans back to these ballparks. Excellent punt. Donald's on the move. Out at first on a very close play. And I don't think Molitor thought he was out. And he has a word or two for Jim McKean on the way by.
Well, remember we told you that Donald got the start even though lefty Al Leiter was on the mound because Kevin Kennedy wanted some defense in there. Great bunt by Molitor. First, it looked like Wakefield will give a shot, but he was called off by Donald, whose strong throw, according to McKean, is there in time. And that's why Paul Molitor had a few words for Jim McKean. By the way, Jim McKean, sore ankle and all, making that call.
Yes.
That's why he left the field.
Our speculation might have been off track. We are told from the first base dugout that Keane turned his ankle, had to have it taped. Dale Scott moved over to first base when Jim left the field. Jim has returned to his position at first base. Roberto Alomar. Close pitch called the ball, and it's 3-0. Robbie had a bunt single in his last at bat. Strike, says Gary Cedarstrom.
And by the way, I agree wholeheartedly with Paul Molitor's opinion. Get something done, make a big announcement at the All-Star break, and have a great second half of the season.
Alomar sends it to the right field corner. That'll be good for at least 2. Witten has a strong arm in right. He hit the cutoff man. Alicea throws to third. It's up by Donald and hit the umpire. Karam toward the dugout where it's retrieved by Wakefield. A triple for Roberto Alomar. That's his 5th triple of the season, and he's now tied with his teammate Devon White and Kenny Lofton of Cleveland for the league lead.
It's a great example of why home fans, when their player hits the ball down the line and has speed, don't touch it. If a fan touches this, it's ruled a double. But once Alomar crushes this into the right field corner, it's all Mark Witten's. Everything was done correctly by the Red Sox. Good, strong relay throw by Witten. Alicea came up and fired his throw. Short hop Donald's, though, couldn't handle it.
And McFarland had to move quickly for the ball in the dirt with the runner at third. Alomar's there with 1 out. 4-1 Toronto in the 5th. They're looking to add to their lead. The infield in for Boston. Line to third, caught by Donald. And Alomar was alert and back quickly. Carter's now 1 for 3. He had a first inning RBI single.
Talking about that throw from Alicea, not only did it short hop Chris Donald's, also got a piece of the third base umpire, Vic Voltaggio. A little carom off the right knee of Voltaggio.
Pad save and a beauty.
And that really distracted Wakefield, who was back there to back up. Ball went the other direction.
Yeah, that hit him a little harder and went into the dugout. Then it's a bigger play. It didn't trickle into the dugout. Olerud doubled a drive in 2 in the first. He also scored in the first. Pitch off the middle of McFarland. What a play he made. Alomar wasn't coming, but he was coming. What a play we would have had at home. McFarland running with his back to the plate. Scooped the ball up and in one motion, still with his back to the plate. Flipped it right out of the mitt to Wakefield.
You're not going to see this maybe ever again. You always have to worry about the pass ball or wild pitch. Look at McFarland.
He must have been a long snapper.
See, Alomar knew he had that play in his repertoire. That's why he didn't go.
That's all about scouting and preparation right there. Don't go against the old hiking technique there. Snap it back to the punter, the holder for the placements. 3-0 now, the count on Oldroot. And the fastball missed inside. And that's the first walk Wakefield has thrown. Remarkable. He's had such good control throughout this season, given that even he doesn't know where the knuckleball is going to go when he throws it.
Oh, that's right, and that's really been the key, closing in on 40 innings since coming up to the Red Sox. That's just his 8th walk. But again, still pressure on McFarland with a runner 90 feet away.
Sprague dribbles one to second. Alicea throws him out, and the Blue Jays leave 2. They still lead by 3.
Well, Mo Vaughn's going to lead things off for the Red Sox with the Blue Jays leading 4-1 in the 6th inning. Mo Vaughn has done a little damage here at Skydome. Monday night against Guzman. This one off the facing of the Hard Rock Cafe. I think the next day they had a Mo Burger on their menu. And then this was in the 4th inning. Pitch moving away. There's that cut fastball by Al Leiter. And if a left-hander stays with it, doesn't try to pull it, and it helps to have the power of a Mo Vaughn, you can hit a ball like that.
And last night, Mo's teammate Reggie Jefferson actually hit a ball over the Hard Rock Cafe, right above it in the luxury box level. Vaughn begins the 6th and takes the fastball inside.
Very curious. I wanted to see where the first pitch was. I was going to see if Leiter was going to stay away or if he was just going to show him something inside to make him aware that he can come in there.
Ball 2, 2-0. Vaughn, Naring, and Witten. Batters 3, 4, and 5 in the Boston batting order. Coming up in the 6th inning, Toronto is 4 runs on 7 hits without an error. Red Sox 1 run, 5 hits, 1 error. 2 balls and a strike.
Boy, some good live heat right there. You don't have to have a radar gun. We do, so we can tell you it's 93, but you knew that was 90 plus anyway.
Bounce down to first. Oldroot to Leiter for the out.
Good selection by Al Leiter, who likes to stay with the hard stuff, but he needs to show more hitters the curveball, and he was able to get Mo Vaughn on this big sweeping breaking pitch. Fooled him, got him an easy ground ball to first base. So a good pitch by Al Leiter.
He works now to Tim Naring. Started the night as the league's leading hitter. And has gone 0 for 2. A couple of groundouts. 1 to third, 1 to short. Naring's averages dropped 5 points. Well, Leiter is trying to overcome some history against the Red Sox. You'd rather forget. Lifetime prior to tonight. And 8 appearances against Boston, 5 of them starts. His record was 1 and 4. The career ERA against Boston of 8.56. They counted him twice last year in his 2 appearances against them. Leiter lost 11 to 2 at Fenway Park last May 14th. Gave up 6 earned runs in 5 innings. Lost 7 to 2 again at Fenway August 3rd. Gave up 6 runs in 4 innings. Ball 4. Naring walks on 4 pitches. That's the second walk thrown by Leiter. Comes with 1 out in the 6th, and with Toronto leading 4-1. Strong outing again tonight for Al Leiter.
Yeah, good line for Leiter. with the 84 pitches, he generally throws a lot of pitches in the number of innings he works because he walks batters, and that's really been the only negative in his 25-plus innings coming into tonight's game. He had 19 walks, but just 2 tonight. That's good for him.
Mark Hutton, the batter. Fastball for a strike. Hutton is struck out, swing, and bounced to third. Nearing does not have much speed at first base.
Plus, the last thing Kevin Kennedy wants to do is chance another hamstring problem, so he'll just let him stay put. But he is, and he professes to be, a running type manager.
Broken bat. Ball went to Sprague. Alomar couldn't turn it. And Olerud had to come off the bag to field the one-hop throw. Great concentration by Sprague to field the ball as the bat was also coming almost along the same flight plan.
That's right. Your instincts tell you to get out of the way, but your concentration tells you I have to make a play here and at least get one out. Remember, at the beginning of the game, we told you if Al Leiter's on his game, he's going to shatter some bats. At my count, I think that's 4. But good concentration by Sprague. Couldn't get enough on the throw, and by the time Roberto made the transfer, there's no chance for double play.
Now 2 outs and runner at first. And Troy O'Leary checked his swing. Vic Voltaggio concurred.
See, I keep track of those kind of things. I have
Yes.
4 broken bats. I have a couple of jam shot base hits, too. So
Yes.
you factor those in.
And a partridge in a pear tree. They finally got O'Leary out in his last at bat. He struck out, ending a streak of 8 plate appearances in a row, having reached base. He singled to center back in the second. We're in the 6th. Toronto leads 4-1. Bounced up the middle. Perez on the run. Terrific play. After 5.5, the Blue Jays lead by 3.
We'll get you back to Toronto in just a moment, but first some NBA labor news as they get ready to play game number 4. Commissioner David Stern announced tonight there will be no lockout and no strike following this series in the NBA Finals. They're making enough progress, he says, so they will try and get a deal done. No lockout, no strike, and Raptors fans will be happy to hear that, guys.
Yes, they will. There have been plenty of articles in the local papers here the last couple of days about how that would diminish the enthusiasm that is building here in Toronto for the arrival of the NBA.
Of course, then the key right there is Commissioner David Stern.
Sean Green leads off. Do you like the job? He's been vacant for quite a while now in baseball. Bud Selig essentially serving in that role.
No thanks.
They offered it to you, would you take
I mean,
it?
I could come in with a lot of ideas, but I don't think I would like the job.
That's probably part of the problem. Neither would just about anyone else. 2-2 the count on Green, who doubled a drive and a run in the first. He struck out in the third. Bottom third of the order coming up against Wakefield. He's gone right back to his form of this entire season after the rough first inning. Green out on the fly ball to left. And they won't be on strike at Shinnecock this weekend. Join ESPN tomorrow. 10:30 Eastern time. That's a.m. Again at 5 p.m. Live coverage of the first round of the United States Open. It's the 95th Open Championship from spectacular Shinnecock Hills on Long Island. It's tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. 5 p.m. Second round coverage continues Friday at the same time right here on ESPN. Ernie Els is the defending champion. Lance Parrish, the batter. He's flied to center twice. And he looks at the ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, it was interesting on the subject of the labor situation that Donald fear. Not only is he here, but he was right on the field during batting practice, parading around, shaking hands all over the place. You think based on his popularity rating at the moment, he might try to maintain a lower profile. But he was all smiles and happy to greet whomever he could encounter with a handshake. And it's 2-2 now on Parrish.
Well, maybe because not many have happily greeted him in the past few months.
Now the 2-2. And he struck him out.
You know, you look at Wakefield work and you just start thinking. I was thinking about this the other day, watching him throw this slower knuckleball. It's a generational type thing. If Tim Wakefield doesn't have success and doesn't carry it on, 20 years down the road, a young knuckleballer will have no one to talk to, because you have to talk to that knuckleball pitcher.
We talked about how he made the transition from infielder to knuckleball pitcher as Charlie Huff did. But it's not that easy. Obviously, if it were easy to throw an effective knuckleball as those two have, lots of people would do it, try to salvage a career. But it is not easy. Perez out on the line drive to center, and the Blue Jays go quickly in order in the 6th.
Dodgers and the Pirates. Hideo Nomo on the mound, and he has 11 strikeouts through 6 innings, allowing just 2 hits and a 4-0 lead. The Braves and the Expos. The Braves have retaken the lead. Jeff Blauser with a single. Kelly comes in to score. And Atlanta right now up 1 over the Expos. Back to you.
And that's been a back and forth game. Not so here in Toronto, where the Blue Jays jumped out to a 4-0 advantage after an inning. Red Sox got a run on a homer by Mo Vaughn in the 4th, and it's 4-1 as we head to the 7th. Sean McDonough and Tommy Hutton, happy to have you with us from Sky Dome. Tommy, when you look at the lineup that Tim Wakefield's been looking at tonight, Toronto Blue Jays, most of the same faces we saw when they won back-to-back world championships. Pitching staff hasn't been great, as we chronicled earlier, but wasn't always dominant when they were winning championships. It's tough from a distance to look at this team and figure out what the problems are. Why are they seemingly underachieving the way?
Well, you hate to point at a particular person. Paul Molitor would say one of the reasons would be him. Joe Carter's continued to drive in runs, but Molitor has struggled. The bullpen has struggled immensely, and that's would be the 2 main areas that you would look at.
And Olerud has had a tough time with the bat. Far cry from his average in the 360s. Leiter working to Mike McFarland, is now 0 for his last 20. An 0 for 1 tonight. He walked back in the 2nd. McFarland, Alicea, and Donald, bottom 3rd of the order. McFarland's in his first year with the Red Sox, signed as a free agent after 8 years with the Kansas City Royals.
I think a good move for both players if you think about Brent Maine of Kansas City. He's getting a little more playing time. Kennedy gets to have McFarland on his side. It's that power at Fenway Park.
And there's ball 4 inside, so McFarland walks for the 2nd time. Certainly Leiter did not want to issue a leadoff walk in the 7th with a 3-run lead.
Well, you look at Leiter's performance over the last 4.5 ball games, as he's even beyond the halfway point in this one. 17 hits he's allowed during that time. 12 of those hits have been singles, and 3 or 4 of those have been of the infield variety. Had a stretch of 23 1/3 scoreless innings.
That stretch ended in his last start at Chicago, but he still got the win. Only allowed 1 run in 5 innings in a 4-3 Toronto victory.
The other thing too that has been in the back of Cito Gaston's mind all year, he wants to get as much out of Al Leiter as he can tonight, because he knows the way his bullpen has struggled. They struggled last night in this matchup between these two teams.
He had to go to them early last night. The starter, Pat Henkin, lasted only 2 innings. The bullpen's a little bit chewed up. Woody Williams pitched 5 innings last night. Mike Timlin pitched 3 innings here on Monday night. Tony Castillo 2 1/3 innings Monday night. 2-0 is the count on Luis Alicea, who singled to center in his last at bat. He's 1 for 2. Despite his success here tonight, Leiter has not done a good job throwing first pitch strikes. He's thrown a first pitch strike to only 9 of the 26 batters who have come to the plate. Two-1 to Alicea. Ball 3. And Leiter is in danger of bringing the tying run to the plate after a couple of walks. Longest outing this year is 7 2/3. Alicea appeared to be taking all the way. The count is full.
Difference in those last 2 pitches. The area where Al Leiter released the pitch. Came through that one nicely. The one before left it up a little high.
Carlin is not running on the 3-2 pitch. Chopped to third. And they get McFarland 5-4. Alicea safe at first with 1 out on the fielder's choice.
That's a nice decision by Ed Sprague, because as a third baseman in that particular case, you can really go either way. You could go to first base for the out, or you could go to second. But Sprague, knowing that McFarland had a small lead, doesn't have much speed, was the runner at first base. He wanted to get that lead run and still keep the double play in order. His momentum could have taken him to first, but he got that out at second, made it look easy.
Blue Jays lead 4-1 in the 7th. Chris Donalds hit it sharply down to first. Olerud, Perez, and Olerud. 3-6-3, and that ends the inning. Nicely done by Toronto. 7th inning stretch at Skydome. Leiter and the Jays lead 4-1.
3 double play one more time. Always one of my favorites. And also watch the slide of Alicea. Good play by Tomas Perez, the young shortstop. Watch how he gets out of the way of Alicea, continues to throw, and gets a little help from John Olerud to complete that 3-6-3 double play. And after the leadoff walk, what a blessing for Al Leiter to see that play turn. Now you see him, now you don't.
Perez has been impressive around that second base bag tonight. And Wakefield's been impressive since the first inning, when he was damaged by an error made behind him. Led to 2 unearned runs. Certainly conceivable that Blue Jays wouldn't have gotten any runs if the error had not been made. That's a fair ball. Bullet down the line by Devon White, his 3rd hit of the night. And Witten's throw sails over everything. Wakefield all the way off the mound, over by third base to field it. And Devon White is 3 for 4.
Might have been the curveball. Looked like he got a slow hook from Tim Wakefield. Devon White not quite 100% running the bases. He's been hobbled a little bit, some back problems, knee problems. But anyway you look at it, a 2-base hit.
And just about everybody else in the game would like to be Devon White at 80%.
Would like to be hobbled that way.
That's right. So graceful running, particularly in the outfield. Just the 2nd hit for Toronto since the 2nd inning. Paul Molitor 0 for 3, trying again to extend his hitting streak to 14 games. He reached on the Alicea error and scored in the 1st.
Another thing that Molitor does so well is move runners. Nobody out, White at second. See if he even tries it with the knuckleballer out there. Not on this pitch. Watch this knuckleball just get away from Wakefield. See, you stay and stay because as a hitter, you think that might come back over the plate.
Now the 2-0. Fouled away. It's always tough to tell when a knuckleballer is tiring. The pitch does not put an awful lot of strain on the arm. As a matter of fact, Wakefield, after making his impressive debut for the Red Sox in Anaheim against the Angels on May 27th, pitched 3 days later with 2 days rest. He just threw it to the backstop, a wild pitch that gets White to third with nobody out. First wild pitch of the night thrown by Wakefield.
No chance at all for Mike McFarland on this one. Now he goes out and out, still can't get to it. The ball just kept tailing away from him.
And Molitor draws a walk. Wakefield in that debut against California pitched 7 innings through 91 pitches. He came back on 2 days rest against Oakland in Oakland. Kevin Kennedy was hoping that night for 3 or 4 innings, maybe 5 best case scenario, with his pitching staff really chewed up. He needed to send Wakefield back out there. Wakefield pitched 7 1/3 that night on 2 days rest through 90 more pitches.
You know, you also need a manager that has confidence in you as a knuckleball pitcher. Again, referring to Charlie Huff years ago when he first came up with the Dodgers. Walt Alston was the manager of the Dodgers. Didn't have that confidence, and it was until he got together with Tommy Lasorda in the minor leagues that his career started to unfold.
Alomar with a little pop-up. Alicea going away. Throws to the plate, not in time. Alert base running by White. He saw the momentum of Alicea was taking him away from the infield. And credit Alomar with a sacrifice fly on a pop-up to second. And the RBI for Roberto is his 26th of the year. It's 5-1 Toronto.
I tell you what, Luis Alicea had a fail-safe, and he should have taken it. Once he catches this pop fly, he has Mark Whitten with one of the strongest throwing arms in the game right there. If he flips it to Whitten, Devon White doesn't go from third, I guarantee it.
One problem Whitten has is he doesn't judge fly balls very well. That hurt him there. They couldn't turn the double play with Carter. He's safe on the fielder's choice with 2 outs. They erased Molitor 5-4. We're in the 7th, and Toronto leads 5-1.
Every once in a while, Sean, you'll see an outfielder going into a gap to get a ball, well-hit ball, and as he retrieves the ball, he'll flip it to the other outfielder coming toward him because his balance is going the other direction. I really thought Alicea was going to flip the ball to Mark Whitten.
John Olerud waits as Wakefield throws to first. Olerud 1 for 2. 2-run double in the first. He scored in the first. Walked in the 5th. One of 2 walks thrown by Wakefield. The other here in the 7th to Molitor. We were talking about how do you judge when a knuckleballer is getting tired. Jim Leland told us a story a couple of years ago when he managed Wakefield in Pittsburgh. He was on the bench. He asked his coach, I believe it was Milt May, how do we know when he's tired? How do we know when to take him out? The coach said, I don't know. All I know is if I were in the dugout on the other side, I'd be sitting over there hoping you take him out. And you'll say, well, that's good enough for me. I'm going to leave him in.
We'll leave him in.
That's right. That knuckleball handcuffed McFarland, but he caught it. Red Sox have action in their bullpen now. Derek Lilliquist, the left-hander, is throwing. He has not seen much action lately. He's had a tough time this season. 2 balls a strike on Olerud. We've got a little one-on-one hitting instruction yesterday from the manager, Cito Gaston, former hitting coach. Carter run, pitch a ball, but throw it out in time. Looked like McFarland was surprised that Carter was going. He didn't really jump up quickly and throw down to second, and Carter has his 4th stolen base this year without being caught.
Well, that's the thing about a knuckleball, though. You can't really do that as a catcher, because if you come out of that crouch to get the ball, your job is to stay back and wait for it. If you come up and go get it, the knuckleball will go right by you. Joe Carter will be at third base.
And after he caught it, though, it looked like he was still a little surprised by the movement of Carter, who doesn't run often, but when he does, he is successful. Brady Anderson just set the American League record for consecutive steals. Donald's nice running catch of the pop-up that didn't get very high in the air and foul ground. Jays get a run in the 7th, and after 7, they lead 5-1.
Rather, Hideo Nomo, 13 strikeouts through 7, and Mike Piazza providing the offense. This is 2nd home run of the night, his 7th of the year, and a 5-0 lead.
And here in Toronto, it's 5-1 in favor of the home team as we head to the 8th inning. Sean McDonough with Tommy Hutton. Red Sox ended a 3-game losing streak last night as their offense broke out of a slump. But they've been stymied again tonight by Al Leiter. The left-hander's been solid through 7 innings. The only damage done to him was leadoff home run in the 4th by Mo Vaughn.
And I think the real telltale sign for Al Leiter, the last 2 starts he had before this one tonight, he stymied the best hitting club in baseball, the Cleveland Indians. Back-to-back starts for Leiter, both wins, and he's on the verge of picking up his 4th straight win for the Blue Jays and putting together a package of 5 solid outings in a row.
It's pretty impressive when you consider that only 11 pitchers this year have victories against Cleveland, and Leiter has 2 of them. We'll see the Indians and the Yankees Sunday night here on ESPN, 7:56 Eastern Time. Lee Tinsley is 1 for 3. Single on his last at bat. Very high, not deep in left for Joe Carter. 1 out. John Valentin will bat next, and then Mo Vaughn.
I know one of the concerns, Sean, and you see the Red Sox a lot more than I do with Valentin, was how he would react after that beating from Tim Belcher, and evidently he's responded pretty well.
He got hit in the head with a fastball about a week and a half ago, and had a mild concussion. Got hit in the back of the helmet, and he admitted that he was a little bit shaky for a couple of days, but he seems to be back in the batter's box and not thinking about it anymore. It's a tough thing to forget about. Some hitters are never able to overcome getting hit in the head. And this is back to June 4th, and as you can see, he had no place to go.
We always hate to see that, but the key of it is that he is back and he is swinging the bat well.
Red Sox have had a lot of frightening moments, as we mentioned on SportsCenter tonight. Last night with Mike Greenwell, who went crashing headfirst into the wall in left field, chasing a triple off the bat of Roberto Alomar. Greenwell had to leave the field on a stretcher. Valentin up the middle, and Perez couldn't get it. Went into the dive, but couldn't come up with it, and Valentin, on the heels of a 3 for 4 last night, is 2 for 4 tonight.
Greenwell keeping his sense of humor, though. A little gag down in the Boston clubhouse. I guess Greenwell and Valentin and Mo Vaughn have a little gentlemanly bet between them, $100 when either one of them misses a game. So Greenwell put a bogus lineup in Mo Vaughn's locker, with Mo Vaughn not in the lineup and Greenwell in it.
Oh.
And Mo got a little upset and all of a sudden realized it was a bogus lineup, that Greenwell actually wasn't playing.
So I wouldn't want to upset Mo. He's a very nice guy and does a tremendous amount in the community, but were you to anger him, it might be unwise, as Pat Henkin nearly found out last night when he hit Mo with a pitch and Mo started the mound. Good news is Greenwell, after spending the night in the hospital last night as a precautionary measure, is going to be fine. X-rays were negative. A little bit sore today, but they anticipate he'll be back in the lineup over the weekend After an off day tomorrow, the Red Sox have Milwaukee Brewers coming to Fenway Park. Then they head right back out on a road trip to Cleveland and Baltimore. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays have an off day tomorrow. They'll host the Texas Rangers, who played very well lately. It's a 3-game series over the weekend. Then Milwaukee comes to Sky Dome. So this is part of an important homestand for the Blue Jays as they try to get back into contention in the American League East. You're around this club a lot. Do you see the same fire, the same intensity after the 2 World Championships?
No, and that's another thing that's lacking.
That would be my observation watching them too, that not having seen them as much as you have.
Yeah, you talked a little bit earlier, Sean. We were talking about Paul Molitor and his involvement with the Players Union. He admits that may have taken something away from his early poor start. Some minor injuries, a quadricep injury, shoulder injury. But a fierce competitor.
There's pondering shoulder surgery at the end of the year. He also has admitted he isn't certain how much longer he's going to play. David Cohn chatting with Molitor. Both of those gentlemen very active in the union matters. The Players Association. Vaughn rips one to right. Valentin will head for third and get there without a throw. Well, Vaughn is 2 for 4, and the Red Sox have the tying run in the on-deck circle. Here's John Saunders.
Sean, we know what a struggle it's been this year for Jeff Bagwell, but he's helping out the Astros here. This brings in Brian Hunter, ties the game at 4 apiece. John and Tommy.
Thanks, John. Conference of the mound now for the battery of Parrish and Leiter. As Leiter's in a jam, 1st and 3rd and 1 out here in the 8th inning. 1 more out recorded by Al, and he'll match his longest outing this season as his opposite number, Wakefield, looks on from the Boston dugout.
Mo Vaughn has had some good swings against Al Leiter tonight. You remember the home run was a pitch running away, and then Al Leiter on that last pitch tried to come in a little bit. Mo was quick and was able to drill it down the right field line.
Double-barreled action. The right-hander Mike Timlin, and the lefty is Tony Castillo. Leiter's up to 113 pitches. Toronto leads 5-1 in the 8th. 1st and 3rd and 1 out for Boston. Tim Naring the batter. And he popped it up. In foul ground, Sprague and Parrish. Sprague took charge. We've seen that several times tonight. Blue Jay fielders waving dramatically under pop-ups, and even though they're the best team in the league in fielding percentage, on their last road trip they had a lot of troubles with balls falling in among fielders.
They've had some mix-ups. They've had some mix-ups back behind third. They've had a couple between shortstop and Joe Carter, be it Cedeno or the youngster Alex Gonzalez. Had some mix-ups out there, so you can see they're really making sure they know who's going to make the play. They were out for some early pitcher fielding practice too today.
They've been very demonstrative in this entire series. As a result of the miscues on the road trip. Pitch gets by Parrish and a run scored. Valentin in from third, and it's a 5-2 ball game, and Vaughn moves into scoring position.
Talked about the movement that Al Leiter can create, and that ball just takes off. I don't know, they're ruling it a pass ball, but in my opinion that's a wild pitch. That ball just took off.
Yeah. Let the official scorer try to catch it. Now Witten with a count of 1-0. He's 0 for 3. Average is dipped to 169. Drop that foul.
Your decision making is different with Al Leiter out there if you're Cito Gaston, because of the way he's effective against right-handed hitters. In this case, a switch hitter, Mark Witten. But you don't necessarily have to go to that bullpen if Leiter is strong, because he's just as effective, if not more, against righties.
Still hitting 92 miles per hour on the gun in this inning. And that's a little looper, shallow left. Perez can't get it. Here comes Vaughn to make it 5-3. Loop hit for an RBI from Mark Witten, his 5th run batted into the season. And now the Red Sox will bring the tying run to the plate, and they'll also bring Cito Gaston to the mound with these runs.
This has got to be a tough move for Cito because of the pitch that Witten hit. It was a good pitch. He really ran it in on him, jammed him, but Witten's so strong. Only a strong man like Mark Witten is going to bloop this ball into the outfield and get a base hit.
And optimism in the Boston dugout for Tim Wakefield and his teammates as another run comes in, and as they get the tying run to the plate. That will end the night for Al Leiter after 7 2/3 innings, and we return to Sky Dome in a moment. Blue Jays lead 5-3, and now it's time for the Kelly Springfield Tire key plays of the game. We take you back to the first inning. First man of the ball game and reached base, Devon White. Then Paul Mahler hit a perfect double play ball, but Luis Alicea booted it for an error. Instead of 2 outs and the base is empty, 1st and 3rd and nobody out, the Blue Jays capitalized. They wound up with 4 runs in the inning, highlighted by that 2-run double by John Olerud. And the Boston Red Sox have been on the comeback trail ever since. They're inching closer as we come back live. 8th inning. Now 5-3. Tony Castillo on to pitch to Troy O'Leary, and Tony's first pitch was a ball up and in.
Well, Castillo, the only left-hander that Cito Gaston has in his bullpen, worked a good 2 1/3 innings Monday night against the Red Sox.
There's 2 1/3 shutout innings Monday night, and helping the Blue Jays to their extra inning victory.
It's one area too where opposing managers have taken advantage at times. Al Leiter, a left-handed starter, really a fiery competitor, showing his emotions as he came off the field, upset about the base hit. He made a good pitch. He knew it. He's just going to root on Castillo right now.
O'Leary lines a base hit. Witten stops at second. Now the tying run is at first base, and the go-ahead run will come to the plate for Boston. And the right-handed hitting Mike McFarland is due up next. We'll see if Cito Gaston goes back to the bullpen for Timlin, who has been throwing.
Now, the point I was going to make, too, the reason other managers have exploited Cito Gaston's bullpen after Leiter comes out of the game, now you bring in Castillo, left-hander, your only left-hander in the bullpen. Kevin Kennedy knows he doesn't have to make a lot of moves because after Castillo, it's all righties. He can keep his left-handers in if he wants to.
McFarland 0 for his last 20. Pops it up. And Olerud makes the catch. Red Sox get 2, but they leave 2 men on base. On the bottom of the 8th, the Blue Jays lead 5-3. Mike Greenwell, who injured his neck crashing into the fence last night, has been stretching in anticipation of the possibility he'll be used before this game is over. Here's how he hurt himself last night, chasing after a triple by Roberto Alomar, a ball that clanged off his glove. He ducks his head, and watch the stress on his neck. And x-rays fortunately were negative. He was still a little bit sore today. And it's Wakefield still on the mound to pitch to Ed Sprague, probably with the thought in mind that Greenwell was available to pinch hit for McFarland. But Gaston stayed with Castillo to pitch to McFarland, who's 0 for his last 20.
And with Alicea and Donald's coming up, you still could see Greenwell. And thank goodness for padded walls. Can you imagine that at Wrigley Field with bricks and ivy?
Oh, what do you want to think about it? He's still flexing his neck, and you would too. You did what he did last night.
I'm flexing mine just watching the replay.
It was scary. He was down for about 7 minutes. They took him off on a stretcher. So they put a neck brace on him in Mount Sinai Hospital here in Toronto, where he stayed overnight. Sprague walks, leading off the 8th. The 3rd walk thrown by Wakefield. And Kevin Kennedy is on his way to the mound.
We were trying to speculate between innings, especially after Wakefield came off in the 7th inning, whether or not he would go back out there. It almost appeared that he wasn't going to go back out. He'd had a talk with Kennedy, with his pitching coach, and I didn't think he was coming out to start the inning. Maybe they changed their mind after they scored a couple of runs in the top of the 8th.
That's it for Wakefield after 7 innings plus. Back to Toronto, where the Blue Jays lead by 2 in a moment. Thanks, John. Welcome back to Toronto, everyone. Sean McDonough with Tommy Hutton. Blue Jays trying to build on a 5-3 lead in the bottom of the 8th. Tim Wakefield taken out of the ball game after walking the first batter of the 8th, Ed Sprague. He threw 111 pitches over 7+ innings. And not a bad start, but it qualifies as the worst of his 5 for Boston. And he has been replaced by the veteran left-hander Derek Lilliquist.
Well, you mentioned the fact that Lilliquist would like to get some more work. He's getting it right here to a pinch hitter, Mike Huff.
Up there, at least for the moment, to bunt, it appears. He's batting for Sean Green.
You know, his numbers for Wakefield not all that bad, if not for the numbers he posted prior to this start.
See Huff's numbers for the season: 3 for 20, 1 RBI. He's 1 for 3 as a pinch hitter. Backup outfielder bunts toward first. Vaughn to Alicea. The sacrifice. 3-4. Sprague's in scoring position with 1 out. Red Sox starting pitching has been good this season. The bullpen has at times been a disaster. At the very least, you would have to classify the Boston relief corps as unreliable, with their collective ERA of 5.33. At the moment, they're having a tough time settling on a closer. Ken Ryan is in that role to start the season, but he's had his problems, and now it's being shared among Ryan, Real Cormier, and Stan Belinda. Brief outing for Lilliquist. Back in a moment. On the road was Monday night when he was the losing pitcher in the first game of this series.
Well, let's just say this. When he has his fastball on, he's a lot easier to look at on Prodigy than he is from 60 feet 6 inches away. But I guess a little bit of the question has been answered, Sean, as far as the bullpen situation for Kevin Kennedy. Ryan coming in, certainly not in a closing situation. And so right now he is out of favor. Wakefield can just sit back and watch. Think about the way he pitched. Talk about some of the pitch selection, looking at the charts there. Right now, Ryan has to go after Lance Parrish.
It was 0 for 3 tonight, and 0 for 9 in the series. Tonight he has twice flied to center, and his last at bat he struck out. He batted against Ryan Monday night and struck out in the 12th inning.
A little difference after seeing Wakefield, seeing Ken Ryan.
Ryan's first pitch, 92 miles per hour and a ball. Sprague at second with 1 out. Blue Jays trying to build on their 5-3 lead in the 8th. Parrish even now at 1 ball and 1 strike. Parrish catching about 3 out of every 5 games now. Randy Knorr, the other catcher for Toronto. Pitch gets away from McFarland, not far enough for Sprague to try it. Farmer ran it down about halfway between home plate and the Toronto dugout.
Of course, Mike has the new catcher's mitt, the smaller one. Once Lilliquist came in the game, now Ryan, but he exchanged the big knuckleball mitt, which, by the way, wasn't his. Wakefield brings a couple of them with him.
Yes.
So now he at least has his own mitt with him.
Down to third, Donald kicked it momentarily and throws him out for the second out of the inning, and Sprague had to remain at second. How do you suppose that conversation went? Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Tim Wakefield. I throw the knuckleball, and here's a glove I suggest you use.
Hey, you might want to try these. Nice play by Chris Donalds, by the way, a veteran third baseman. Even though he bobbled the ball, he still had time to check Sprague back because he knew the speed of Parrish. He had a lot of time.
Tomas Perez 0 for 3. Fouled away to the left.
I just think those mitts would be like the Christmas present that you don't want. You know, that the old aunt or uncle gives you that you just don't want. And all of a sudden he's got this new present, but then he has to use it.
You know my family. One strike pitch. It's close for the ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. 8th inning. Toronto leads 5-3. Ryan, a hard thrower, has a very good curveball. Has a tough time throwing strikes consistently. On the ground to second. Alicea throws him out. A good job done this time by Ryan. Last chance coming up for Boston. They have Alicea, Donalds, and Tinsley due up. Game 1 of our ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball doubleheader heads to the 9th inning here at Sky Dome in Toronto. The Blue Jays trying to make it 2 out of 3 over the Boston Red Sox and gain a game in the standings on the first place Red Sox. Toronto started the night 9.5 games out, tied for last place with the New York Yankees. Mike Huff stays in the game in right field for Toronto as they try to protect the 2-run lead. It'll be Tony Castillo on the mound at least to start the inning. Red Sox have batters 8, 9, and 1 in their order due up. Luis Alicea, Chris Donalds, and Lee Tinsley. Alicea is a switch hitter, and he has made his way to the batter's box. But Bill Hasselman has moved into the on-deck circle to hit for Donalds. Alicea is 1 for 3. He singled in the 5th. Castillo missed high for ball 1. It was a save situation for Castillo. Blue Jays have only 6 saves this year, fewest in the league. And Castillo's trying to save this one for Al Leiter.
And there's no way Al Leiter's going to go back into the clubhouse. He wants to watch it firsthand.
1-1 pitch. Chop foul, and Alicea is behind in the count, 1-2.
The key right here for Alicea, and he wasn't able to do it because Castillo's come at him with strikes. The key for him, just get on base any way you can. You saw him take the 1 strike, then Castillo came back with a breaking ball. All of a sudden, Castillo has the upper hand.
Down to third, and Sprague. 1 out. Here's John Saunders. Well, we'll get to John momentarily.
I swore that guy looked like Al Leiter, not John Saunders.
Now Bill Hasselman up to pinch hit for Chris Donalds. Little lob, Olerud runs it down, and the Red Sox are down to their final out. Coming up next, at the bottom of the hour, the White Sox and the Athletics from the Alameda County Coliseum in Oakland. Mark McGuire and Frank Thomas, among others, on display. Hasselman discussed it with himself. He went up as a pinch hitter, swung at the first pitch, popped out. Now Lee Tinsley will try to keep Boston alive. John Ballantyne's on deck. Ball 1 outside to Tinsley. He's 1 for 4, a 5th inning single to left. And ball 2, 2-0. Should this score stand, it would be the 4th time this year the Red Sox have failed to have the lead at least once in a ballgame. That's remarkable. They've had the lead in all but 3 games, at least one point or another. this season. They have not led tonight since falling behind 4-0. And unless this one is dropped, they won't have the lead at all tonight. 1-2-3 goes Boston to the ninth. Fine work again by Castillo to save it for Leiter. And Wakefield suffers his first loss in the American League. The totals for Toronto: 5 runs, 8 hits, and no errors. They left 7. For Boston, 3 runs, 9 hits, and an error. They left 7. Leiter the winner, now 5-2. Wakefield the loser, 4-1. Castillo his first save. Mo Vaughn with the game's only home run. White Sox and Athletics coming your way next. For Tommy Hutton, Sean McDonough saying so long from Toronto. The Blue Jays victorious tonight.